The NRL bye rounds, arguably the most important period in the NRL fantasy calendar. The weeks where you could go from a mid-range plotter yourself to a guy who's at the top of the game and potentially winning that overall prize. Look, it's a very exciting time, and it's a chance to make up ground or to lose ground. Because we've had a lot of questions about this. I'll throw it to you to explain what exactly are the bye rounds and what are byes in general.
Yeah, look, for our experienced fantasy players, you'll probably already know this, but essentially, especially this year, with 17 teams playing in the NRL this year, there's obviously one odd team. So every week there's going to be a bye. But when we talk about the bye rounds in fantasy, it's during that middle part of the year, and why it's important. Some people have been asking why people are talking about round 13, why are people talking about round 16. Well, the NRL schedules their season so that on round 13, 16, and 19, I believe this year, half or so of the teams are in a bye, which means that half your team won't be available to you, half your squad. And if you're not prepared, you could go into these rounds with 3 or 4 players. So you need to plan for these weeks in advance. You need to plan out who you're going to have in what position. And as Longy said, a lot of people don't come in prepared for this. They might be doing really well and they might be ranked in the top 100, top 500, but then they come to the bye rounds and realize they only have 3 players. And there are players who are coming 5,000 or 10,000 who have like 13 players in these rounds, and they can make tons of ground. Because if you think about it, having 5 extra players in a bye round, that's like 300 extra points you're making up. So really important. Longy, tell us about your story with byes, and especially the year you won the overall championship and came first. How important were byes for you, and how did you navigate them?
The byes are everything. They're absolutely everything because you're having to balance 2 things through this period. So you're obviously trying to build your ultimate roster for the end of the season. That's one thing that you're going towards. But in amongst that, you're trying to weave in all these bye playing options. So we're going to talk about the 4 major teams this year who are guys to target from. But the year I won, I got into first place in round 12, so just before the major bye round started, and then did not succeed first place through the entire bye round period. So was able to take, I think it was about a 20-point lead on second place and turn that into hundreds. Because every week I was trotting out a strong roster, just making sure when I bought a cash cow, they had good byes. When I bought a gun, they had good byes. I wasn't buying anyone on Origin games coming up as well. And that changes the game for you. That can win your fantasy. But let's jump into this year because it is different this year. And some of the changes are very, very tricky. And they're ones that people don't know about. So look, first one here, I'm just going to jump right down to the club byes section. This rules section is available too. So if you search NRL Fantasy Rules, it's on the NRL Fantasy website. You can search for anything here. You probably don't want to read it. It's pretty boring. But we're going to give you the main parts. And then we're going to go into some of those hot players. So for the byes here, major things here, you mentioned half here, so 7 teams have byes in round 13, 16, and 19. So that's 7 teams who won't be playing, plus all State of Origin players. So you've got guys like Harry Grant, you might have Latrell Mitchell, you're looking at Nathan Cleary, Nico Hines potentially even. Those guys aren't going to play in those weeks. So you've got those weeks where there aren't many guys there. The other thing to note is that you only have 13 players those weeks. So let's get it here. Yeah, during those bye rounds, only individual scores count from the starting 13. So in round 13, 16, and 19, you will have no reserves scoring points. Now, that might sound not that bad because you don't have that many players. But if you had 2 hookers, let's say you had Jeremy Marshall-King and Reece Robson, or Damien Cook and Reece Robson if Cook didn't make Origin, you can only start one of those guys. So it's an absolute waste to have those 2 guys there for round 13 because you're going to have one of them not scoring for you. And you might have 5 players, but one of them can't even fit into your starting side. So that's where it's really important to plan your roster appropriately and have only those starting spots filled there.
Yeah.
Let's jump into something more fun, though, because, the rules are kind of boring. If you have any questions on those, ask in the comments. This is the fun stuff. So 4 key teams we've got here. Who are they again? It was the Parramatta Eels, North Queensland Cowboys, Newcastle Knights, and Manly Sea Eagles. So those 4 teams, what we're going to do here is we want to look at every option. So we're just going to jump
on that, Longy, why those teams are important. They play both round 13 and 16. So we're not going to cover round 19 because that is 2.5 months away. But getting these players who play both round 13 and 16 alleviate that headache for you in the short term. And those 4 teams are going to be gold for you. And luckily, there's a lot of good options in those teams, and we're going to analyze all 4 of them right now.
Oh, they're stacked. They're stacked. And if you do want to see a player's fixtures as well, just go into that full player profile, and you can go to fixtures or match stats as well, and you can see when they're playing too. So jumping into the Parramatta Eels first. Look, Eels are hot. I want to go quick yes, no, maybe on these guys. Maybe a quick 1-2 words on each one. For me, Madison, yes, PPM machine. How about you?
Yep, agree. He's going to be a keeper at the end of the season as well. Get him in. I doubt he makes Origin as well.
That's the big part. Mitch Moses, 800K. Yes, after the injury is resolved. Absolute machine.
Yeah, probably a no from me, just given that you can only play 2 halves, remember, in round 13. And a lot of people will probably have 2 halves from guys like Katoa, Nikorima, Sean Johnson. So if you've got 2 halves already, skip. If you don't, then definitely get him in.
Well, let's stick to halves there and go Dylan Brown next. For Dylan Brown, big yes for me. Look, obviously, if you have 2 halves, you won't grab him, but 712K. Scored 75 and 76 the last 2 weeks. He's a hot option.
Yep, agree.
Jimmy Hopgood. What is underrated here is edge and middle eligibility. So when we're talking about having a full roster, he's a guy who can fit into both those spots. I'm not buying him, but I can see why someone would.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in the person who will buy him. I'll probably wait till close to round 13, but dual position, Regan and Junior Paulo will be out during the Origin period. I think if you can afford him and you need, covers 2 of the trickier positions, and you need 3 mids. It's one of the more positions where you need more players. So yeah, he's a good option.
Juicy. We'll roll down this list and it gets a bit lighter here. There's a couple I want to talk on. Penasini, I like it as a pod. Look, you're paying full price, 637K. He's a maybe. If he fits your roster and you back Parramatta and you back Penasini, I don't mind it.
Yeah, he's a pod option and you're paying full price for him. Probably skip, given a lot of players will probably have centers from, the Dolphins, like Amiso, Connolly, maybe Valencia if he keeps his spot.
Absolutely. With Junior Paulo, no. Playing Origin.
Yep.
Terrible choice. Bryce Cartwright, he's off the bench. He scored that 39. It's a no. Gutho, a little bit spicy.
Interesting,
he was sleeping this thing. He scored 40 points. Wing fullback has not been good.
He's I would say if you need a fullback, I wouldn't mind Gutho over Drinkwater and him are probably toss of the coin, but
yeah, I like Gutho better just because of Parramatta's form. Regan's out, hurt. Sean Lane.
Yeah, people are talking about. Yeah. If you back him to reclaim his form last year, I think we're about to say the same thing. But if you think he can go back to 2022 Lane, absolutely. If you think he goes back to Lane every other year, skip.
That's the thing you're talking about there too. These picks aren't all just numbers. So player scoring well the last few weeks. That's not why you're buying them. You're buying them based on a real world narrative. So Sean Lane and that Parramatta edge, can they click into gear? Dylan Brown's clicked in recently. Micah Sivo scoring a lot of tries. I think it's a matter of time for Sean Lane. Look, Ogden, no. Although he could potentially get some minutes through Origin, actually. But probably a bit too far down the totem pole for me. Micah Sivo, very try-reliant. And just chime in as I go through these here. But Andrew Davey, no thanks.
Davey is an interesting one. I don't think he's going to hold them to his starting spot. If he did, yes, but I doubt he will.
445, though. There's no upside there. Simonson, 360.
Yeah, we've hyped him up in a buy, hold, sell video, so watch that if you haven't already. But I think he's a good option. He'll get the dual position after round 13 if he keeps his spot. Now, I'm going to talk about it as if he's going to have his spot for the rest of the year. But I think he can average about that 40 mark. He's priced at 360, so, low to mid-20s. He's a good option, especially if you need a wing fullback. Good work rate out there.
He's the pod of all pods, 0.3%. Russell, nah. Hodgson, no thanks. Dury, no. McIntyre, no. Brandon Hands might get to minimum price at some point. It might be worth looking at as a specky.
Surely Josh Hodgson will get dropped soon. I think Hands, once he gets that starting spot, you can get him in. Until then, no.
He dropped 18K last week, though, so Hopefully he gets to 220 and then that happens.
Yeah.
Last guy, look, Greek here. He's 300k now. I got him a couple of weeks ago at 248. 300, he's a bit pricey because he's just not going to produce enough points to make the money and clear 400k, I don't think. But he will have those games where Junior Polo's out for Origin, so he's kind of interesting. Let's go to the next group here. And look, we got the Cowboys next. Robbo, yes?
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be the best hooker over the bye period. Assuming he doesn't make Origin, I don't think he will. Like, he plays the big buys, unlike the other. I mean, the other guy is Jeremy Marshall King, but Robson is probably a 55 average, potentially 60 average guy who'll play 13 and 16. So I'm going to be trading Cook to him in round 13, just ahead of that bye schedule.
Yeah, he's got insane pedigree, Robson too. Cotter plays Origin. Valentine Holmes plays Origin. Jordan McLean, I'm just not interested at 528k.
Mid-range, yeah, mid-range.
Yeah.
Same as Dearden.
Dearden, no, I couldn't do it. There are worlds where Dearden gets hot for 6 weeks, but I don't see it. Tamalolo, even when he comes back, no for me.
Oh, I mean, at 550k, yeah, he's probably going to manage coming off that injury and surgery, so probably not. But if he was healthy, it would be an option at 550k. I've never seen Lolo that cheap.
He was really plotting before he went, though.
He was, yeah, he was.
Yeah, and then Chatty Townsend, no thanks. Scotty Drinkwater, were you talking about buying him this week?
Yeah, he was in our buy hold sell as well. I think he's a good pod. I think he's starting to click into gear. He's averaging 49 odd in his last 3 games. Got a soft schedule as well. Got the Dragons this week, who we know don't defend that well. I think if you're going to get him in for the buys, this is the week to do it. But mid-range price, I think I'm going to go Bailey Simon myself. Take a bit of a punt.
Yeah, 5-3. It's nice. You'll be happy with him. Cohen Hess, trap. Big trap. He had a bigger score last week, 54 points, but no thanks. Nanai either plays Origin or is in terrible form. Like, there's not really a world where he scores well enough there.
Plus, he's suspended for a few more weeks anyway. So,
yeah. Lukey, if you're watching this in the future, hopefully the Parramatta Eels have won. But also, there's a chance that Lukey goes well against George this week. I wouldn't buy him right now, but if I saw a big game for him next week and I didn't have him yet, he's probably a yes for me.
I like it. I just, he didn't get the minutes last week. He got 55. They've got the boom rookie on there who looked good. So I don't know if he's going to play 70-plus minutes week in, week out. But at this price, you could probably afford to go wrong.
Do they prioritize Jezewski over Lukey, though?
That confounds me. Like,
yeah.
Anyway,
and then
you talk about it.
Potter. Like the Cowboys.
I got no idea what's going on. Yeah, Grant. Oh, God. It's a bit of a shambles right there. But, hey, they got a good win.
And then Mitch Dunn gets 10 minutes. I thought he was good, but, they're tough. Jezewski, that's actually good timing. I don't like it.
No, he's, I mean, Nano will take his spot when he comes back anyway. Plus,
you think so.
Ugh.
Then Talangi probably plays for Queensland at some point.
You reckon? I mean, Cobbo and Coates will be the first choice wingers, but Talangi is probably the next man in over Corey Oates, probably.
Yeah, just
close to it.
I know Coates has been pretty out of form.
Yeah.
So injuries happen,
I mean, Talangi is not setting the world on fire this year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, he's cheap. So any could go on a try scoring run. Kyle Felt, he was actually kind of spicy because I think he was about 300k.
Yeah, he got real cheap. Yeah, we were talking about him and we were like, he wouldn't be too bad. But I mean, this is what we talk about. Like, I mean, that's like what I mean. Like, there are players like Tane Milne and Jason Saba, those guys this week who look trash.
Hey,
and then all of a sudden,
we can talk about those things.
Fair enough.
Look, Tamau, no. Neen, no. Hiku.
Hiku's all right. He's lost 111k at center position.
Yeah.
He's improving. He's scoring much better now.
Yeah, 3-round average of 37.7. It's a no for me, but it's kind of spicy. Tanoa Brown. He's had chances to minutes. He hasn't done it. Granville, too late. Far too late.
I've got him now. I'm selling him this week because I think that, you can only play one hooker, and he's not going to get dual position. And Granville is not a hooker I want to start because by round 13, Tamalolo's probably back. So Granville's not going to get those minutes.
He's made cash for you.
He made 120k, yeah, 100k,
yeah. No, you're cheering. Tommy Chester hurt. Shibasaki, no. Price, no. Dunn, no. Elliott, no. Cooley Gefu. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. But he's kind of a weapon in real life. Probably not.
I wonder if he could take a spot from Jack Sevsky in the short term. Well, no, is that possible? You reckon? Probably not.
If they had a different coach, I'd think about it, but he really doesn't value attacking explosiveness in his forward picks. Like
Granville, baby.
Granville 60-minute prop. It tells you everything you know. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Steer clear of most of these guys. Basically, we just said Robson and no one else. Then next group here, we got, this is kind of tricky, Seagulls, and a couple of these guys were in buy, hold, sell as well. So yeah, check that video out if you haven't. Let us know in the comments too if you're buying any of these guys, or if any of these guys are guys you're steering clear of, selling, captaining, whatever it is there. So for Manly, look, Trey Evans plays Origin, so don't buy him, but you're probably not selling him if you have him. Like he'll back up. Manly need to make the top 8. Ola Kawatu, he's in my Origin side.
Yeah, I think he makes it as well, so I'd stay clear of him.
Yeah, steer clear. Jake Trbojevic injured and also plays Origin most likely, so steer clear.
Paseka's an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, one of my close friends who I play fantasy with is saying he's buying him in, and he's trying to convince me. He played 58 odd minutes last week with Jake Trbojevic out. Could be a 50 guy and has good buys. So yeah, maybe he's a good pod for you. I don't know. What do you think, Longy?
Paseka's a good player in real life. Like, he's a good prop. He's made 110k. That's the thing with Paseka. Like, he's not going to lose minutes to the guys they have on the bench. So I hadn't really thought about him. And look, my mids are full for round 13 anyway.
That must be nice, Longy. That must be very nice.
It's just one spot.
I think my one mid for round 13 is Toby Couchman.
Oh, you don't have DeBellin or Horsburgh?
No, I'm getting one of them this week. But
yeah, I'm just messing with you, man. Look, Paseka, I don't mind Paseka. 601. I'm probably going for one of those other guys over him, but I can see the upside there. He probably keeps a good role as well, and Jake Roberts is back too. Harper, no. Sipley was going well before his suspension. Maybe he comes back good in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Tommy Turbo. I mean, he could end up being buy cover because he's probably not going to make the Blues team.
You reckon? I think if he shows fitness in the next couple of weeks, he'll be there. You just got to remember, you don't have to be as fit to play center as you do as playing fullback. So that could help him, I guess. Yeah,
no, look, I'd pick Turbo myself because I reckon guys live for Origin. We've seen Callum Ponga do it all the time. I think Turbo will be fine at centre, but there's a lot of talk about Campbell Graham, a lot of talk about some other guys. So we'll see what happens. I mean, look, I wouldn't buy Turbo, but if I had Turbo right now, 519k, like he's getting towards serious value. I mean, he's not been a great fantasy squad this year, but I'd hang on.
I would buy him if he plays. If he doesn't make Origin, I'm buying him.
He's been tough to own.
He has. I owned him and I sold him, but a 500k playing the 2 major buys. Yeah, he's probably getting fitter week by week.
Yeah. Yeah, he's tricky. Then look, Ruben Garrick's the next guy here. I'd probably go Garrick over Turbo at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, just because, I mean, he's dropping in price. He's sort of down 155k. His fantasy peak is pretty good. I'm probably not going to do it. I did buy him in Dream Team, actually, Ruben Garrick, just because they value the tries a bit more and the run meters a bit more, and they crucify negatives more, and he doesn't make many mistakes. So I grabbed him over there. I'm probably not going to get him for fantasy. I'll throw a few at you. Just give me a yes, no. LA?
No.
Bullimore?
No.
Croker?
Croker is someone I looked at because he's dropped 160k and he's had some injury-affected games. If he's playing at 70 to 80 minutes at hooker, Like he could average 45, and he's priced in like 40 marks. So, or sorry, it's priced lower than the 40 marks. Probably priced in the mid 30s because he's 475k. So yeah, he could be an option. Again, I'd prefer to just get Robson for the Byes. So, and he only plays hooker, and like we said, you can only play one hooker in those 2 rounds. So, I think Robson is almost a must-have, to be honest. The fact that he plays 13 and 16, and he's the one gun hooker, like I think you need to get in your team.
Yeah, for sure. Look, so Croaks, I think it's a no. 15 points in 50 minutes. It's kind of gross. Tuolangi.
Nah, hot and cold. Yeah.
Kohler. Nah,
easy.
Not.
Yeah, I mean, he's a bit interesting, but not really. It's mid-range price. Yeah, he's too expensive. He's a mid-ranger.
I think he's 350.
Yeah.
Maybe. Kepi. Nah.
He didn't really get a boost. Yeah, he came out of the blue, though. Like, most people were very skeptical, and we were proven to be right. And he didn't really get a minute bump from Gerber being out. So
I think he had 40 minutes last week and scored 22. Like that.
Yeah.
The other guy, I'll just skip ahead because look, Schuster's a no, Parker's no, Lawton's kind of spicy, but he's probably a no. Aaron Wood scored 40 and 40 last week. He's 359k. His PPM hasn't been 1 point per minute so far this year, nor has it been through his career. I'm just throwing it out there. We're getting.
I threw this out there to one of my fantasy group chats, and people just
you get roasted.
Yeah, I got roasted. But hey, you got 40 minutes. Yeah. I mean, if he gets 40 minutes, you can score 30 to 33 points. Like that's not bad. Like it's not great, but because he's not 250k, he's 360k. So that price point, a couple others out there probably like Bailey Simonson.
It's a bit much. Elite Bailey Simonson. Then look, Saab, 299k, coming up for 36. I think that's his season high.
Yeah, he's a guy that can get hot. He can get hot. I mean, you could probably watch this week because he's got Cronulla, who are one of the best teams. I can't see him doing too much against them.
Well, he's Kyle Felt. He's Kyle Felt. They're the exact same scoring profile. Kyle Felt was this price. Now he's 430k. Yeah. Everyone laughed when we talked about Kyle Felt. Talk about Saab. I'm not going to do it. But
if Saab had if Saab had a weaker matchup this week, I would maybe get in and like just play him on as my 17th guy for Nicarima / Katoa. That's my Dolphins guys, and hope for the best.
Yeah, he's Cam Pereira, 100%. Then KO Weeks, I'm not buying him now. I cashed out to him a while ago because I like the talent, I like the PPM at the time. And I figured he was the backup. He was getting named to start at 6 that week. They got destroyed by Penrith. He's lost that job to Cooper Johns, who I don't really rate personally. And then he backed up Turbo as well at fullback. If he gets that fullback role in the Byes, 261k, you're cheering. Yeah. But you got to wait for round 13.
I think exactly. That's my plan. Like I've got that penciled in. Like if he's a fullback or whatever, halfback or whatever in round 13, just cash out what you've got. Plug him in 13 to 16 and you're cheering.
Big time, yeah.
And if Turbo makes Origin, like he's going to get multiple games because Turbo is not going to back up with his injury history. So he could actually play 3 or 4 games in like 5-6 weeks and make 150, 200k pretty quickly.
That's a great point. The risk there is he didn't go well when he was fullback against the Titans. So, we'll talk about it a lot in round 13 when that comes up. Look, Cooper Johns has some of the worst fantasy pedigree I've ever seen in a half.
But in saying that, let me stop you there. I thought that, but he actually scores about 35 to 40 when he's like the dominant playmaker. And Cherry Evans will be at Origin. So he's going to be the dominant playmaker during Origin. It's probably going to be Cooper Johns. So you might actually get some 35s out of him for a few weeks while Cherry's gone.
Is Flanagan to the Seagulls happening?
I don't know, but apparently he played hooker for the Dogs reserves team this week and he played pretty well. So I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not happening then. Okay. I mean, look, if Flanagan comes across, that kind of kills that. That's not actually the worst call you've ever made, though. Like, let's say he gets down to 240 in a couple of weeks' time, you need to cash out. I don't know. Like, if Josh Schuster comes back though soon, you lose him as a player, and the upside isn't great. Like, yeah, I'm steering clear.
I mean, the ideal thing is, Hamali makes Origin, and one of Schuster or Ben Trebojevic get that spot. Then all of a sudden you've got, a player who'll play 80 minutes on the edge for 2 rounds. The only problem is it could be Bullymore. So
I was going to say that. Bullymore first 40, Trebojevic second 40, trash PPM all around.
Yeah, I think whoever gets that spot will play 80, but it could be Bullymore who comes in and he's a bigger fella, so he doesn't play 80 on the edge, so he might get 50 or something.
And last time we had here, what was it? It was the Bunnies?
It was the Knights, I think.
Knights.
No, was it the Knights?
The other. Yeah, Knights.
Yeah,
Knights. So Bunnies are 13 and 19. Not bad either, actually. So for the Knights, this is tricky because some of the guys you'd want are Origin hopefuls. Dan Gagai, he is that guy at center, but he plays for the Maroons, so you can't do it.
He's crazy. Imagine saying at the start of the season Gagai would be averaging 56 at center.
I still don't believe it, and no one believes it. He's 1.9% owned.
Yeah.
I've never seen everyone just be like, "Nah, it's fake."
Yeah.
Not many people are real keen to buy in. Oh, if you went with Gagai,
isn't he the best center in the game as well right now? Like, he is, right?
He's sensational. Like,
fantasy-wise, so, he is the number 1 center, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Joey Manu will take it. Oh, you know what? Jack Bird is close.
No, Jack Bird averages 50, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Billy Smith is the highest averaging center. There you
go. Oh, yeah, Gagai's the guy. Yeah, if you at the start of the year said, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to have Dan Gagai and Matt Tomoko with Penasini on the bench," everyone would be like, "Oh, you're wasting your money. go get Tedesco and Joey Manu."
Yeah. How's this for? Just off topic. This is the top 5 centers. You've got Billy Smith, Tata Moga, Valinsa Tuar, that makes sense. Dan Gagai, and then Braden Burns.
Braden Burns played a few games too.
Braden Burns averaging 54.5 after playing 2 games.
I just want to say that was some really bad content because that really made me feel bad.
We should end this video now.
We think there's all this science to fantasy, and then you say that.
Yeah.
And now we're here. Now we have to, with a straight face, make predictions.
Throw darts, boys. Throw darts.
honestly, if you want to win, you have to do a bit of that. Like, you have to sort of look at it and be like, that guy's going to hit form. Dan Gagai, I didn't call it. We did talk a lot. I would have thought maybe Braden Best might be the guy to make the leap in that team, but
I talked about Tyrell Sloan at the start of the year when 250k people were off him because he was hot and cold. I said, he's the type of player just get some hot form, goes games. He's cooling off now, but he's only 200k. So, look, sometimes you just can't explain it.
Yeah, you gotta take a run at it. Look, Greggy Marzu, he may drop in price over the next couple of weeks, and if he got, I don't know. The problem is if he gets low in price, he's not playing well. But if he was 600k, and you viewed him as a keeper, he'll never make the Blues or anything. So.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's got an okay run as well. He's got the Titans this week, revenge game. He could dominate. And there's just not that much at fullback setting it light right now. So,
and he can score a try a week. Like Mike Acevo scoring a try a week. Greggy Marzu could score a try a week.
He's a great finisher. And they look to him in this team. So
they're feeding him, yeah. So Greg Marzu might be a guy. I'm talking myself into that right now. Look, Frizzell, we talked. If you watch the show, we've been talking about Frizzell, and I spent an hour explaining to you that you need to buy him when he was 600k. So at 744, I'm saying no, just on price at this point.
He's expensive now. Yeah, he's very priced at his peak. At 600, he was a steal. He's probably the best. He's probably the best edge available for round 13. So. Yeah, I mean, Hopgood in himself.
All the risk is priced in now. So
and he's a bit injury prone as well.
It's risky. And Lockie Fitzgibbon, same thing. All the risk is priced in. He's been playing well. I'm not interested.
At his peak. That is big. Yeah.
Lucky Miller. If
I
you
assume you have him already. I don't know if I'd buy him, but I assume a lot. Like, what's his ownership? 30%.
21.
Oh, that's lower than I thought. Yeah, he's I'd buy him.
I don't mind him.
Sorry, I'd keep
634.
640K is a lot.
And his 3-round average is 33.
Yeah.
Probably go Marzi over Miller. Yeah, Thompson, I'm not interested. You?
Nah, probably not.
Yeah,
They're getting Cripps back. Like, they're getting Adam Elliott back. Another big minute middle.
Yeah, Hastings, nah. Dan Safidi probably plays Origin. Bradman Best. I just think there are so many better.
Yeah,
it's Dom Young. Really trying.
Yeah,
he's a guy who's 300K.
Mate, are you buying Dom Young at the Roosters next year? I'll save it for another video, but like you could go gangbusters.
I'm aggressively buying Dom Young at the Roosters next year. Although 35 is not the best average for us to come next year with, because like Dan Tupou averages 35. Dom Young's a bit better than Dan Tupou, but he's not a fantasy guy. Like really,
he's not a Marzu.
Yeah. So maybe I won't. Croker, no. I want to talk about Croker as well. It's a no from me. Kurtman injured. I can't see myself buying Tommy. I'll take a gamble on
this
Ty.
Content is getting worse.
Take a gamble on Ty so we could see Phoenix. We'll cross that river when we get to it. Phoenix is actually not the worst option.
He's not. I had to sell him last week just to get 17, but Man's injured now, so he's probably going to play 70 minutes at hooker again after being benched and score 45. So you could probably even buy him back. High break even. You could wait a week maybe, but again, he plays in the half position, and we've talked about quite a few halves, and you only play 2 of them, so could be an option. High break even. Wait and see if he gets that 70-minute role again.
I've got 1 half slot free.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if just keep an eye on Kurt Mann. I think when Kurt Mann comes back, he gets capped out, but without Kurt Mann, he's pretty good.
I gotta see how long that injury is. Yeah, Phoenix. If you have Phoenix, hold on to Phoenix. I'll keep an eye on that. Jack Johns, no. Adam Elliott, absolutely not. If you're playing a draft league, you can look at Adam Elliott. Jones, no. Hunt, no. Jacob Safidi might play Origin and also just not a fantasy producer.
I don't think Safidi Jacob's playing Origin, but I don't think you need to. Well, I mean, maybe he takes a lot more minutes with Daniel Safidi gone. Maybe
he's never done it though. I remember thinking that every year and just getting him in draft leagues sometimes, and he's never done it. And so when I say might play Origin, I mean in a world where Safidi is scoring well enough in fantasy for you to own him, he's probably in form that gets him in that conversation.
Yeah, good call.
So, you either get trash scores or he becomes an Origin threat. It's a lose-lose. Look, there's a few other guys here to talk about. Hetherington has produced fantasy before, and he's had every opportunity this year.
Knights have too many of these guys. Like these kind of 20-minute middles and forwards. Not getting.
They did him dirty with this photo as well. Look at that.
Yeah, that looks like a drawing. Honestly, that's terrible. He looks like he's got dead. Hilarious. I never noticed that before. This is the content you're here for, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Everyone, the amount of people who complain as well to me about the lack of pictures on some players, like as though we can change that too. This is worse than no picture.
That's terrible.
I'm gonna make a TikTok about that. Yeah. One guy who's actually worth talking about. Look, Kalen Palmer, we talk about him in buy, hold, sell. He's 402K, which is just obscene for him. Wait a couple of weeks on him, but keep an eye on him. I've seen a few people who have sent me trades, and it made sense for them to buy him this week because they needed a starter. They went for around 13. He probably drops cash, but look, the Gold Coast isn't a bad fixture. Look, if you're buying Palmer, you're counting on 3 things. Fitness, not getting picked for Origin, and production. Because he had, 9 points in the last game.
I think he missed more tackles than he made or something. So
yeah, I mean, but he had a legendary immortal running at him in Mitch Moses.
True.
Who at his peak is Joey Johns-esque.
Yes, I agree.
We're watching Red Para fans, and we make that joke a lot. But yeah, look, Pong is real spicy. Pong is a yes for me, actually. I'm going to call it right now. Pong is a yes.
If he doesn't make Origin, he's a yes for me. But I think he's pretty much guaranteed Origin.
I don't think so. I think we should make a bet.
All right, done.
All right, I'll bet you a beer before next Para game we go to after that Ponga does not make the Origin team.
All right, make it 2.
2 beers, and that includes everyone up to the 18th man.
Okay, fine.
Done. All right, good. Ponga's not making it. See you there, Reece Walsh. Then look, Knights have no one else. Do we want to touch on South quickly as well, just because they're around 13?
Yeah, we can talk about South. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having fun with this.
Yeah.
There might be some more funny pictures too. So, for South,
the top 4 guys there, they're all Origin players, probably.
Yeah, Origin. Yeah.
Yeah. Murray, Cook, all sells before this. We've discussed about sells. Great value, but they're going to miss 6 of the next 10 games. So sell them before round 13.
Yeah, totally
Cody
agree.
Walker, what a renaissance. He was 400k last year.
I detest Cody Walker as a pick to buy.
This price, yes. It was 500k like it was last year. Then I bought him last year at 440k. He didn't produce like this. I wish he was, but
he's been on a run. He's scoring every game. Bunch of try assists. But even this 42, I think he had a try and 2 try assists.
Yeah, I mean, he has to go off to he's probably playing at Dally M level right now.
Yeah. Would he play Origin? Is he any chance?
No chance at all.
I have him second in my list behind Luai. Behind
Hines. I thought you were making more jokes here. No, I've got Luai ahead of him, to be honest.
Oh, I reckon he's better than Luai. Look, Campbell Graham probably plays Origin as well, and
you're not banking out 650k from Pure Center.
No. I mean, to be fair,
he is good though. He's good. He's got very high work rate. Yeah,
he's got a lot of tries. Jai Arrow. The risk with him is he probably plays Origin. He's not producing for fantasy right now either.
Hey, remember when everyone was hyping up Lockie Elias after the first week, and we told everyone to calm down on him, and everyone was going off us everyone was like, nah, you don't understand. 2nd year jump,
you don't get it. I mean, look, he's not been the worst, but
he's not bad. But
he's
mid-range, he's not the guy. Plus, you got to remember, Souths are going to probably have a bit of a leaner period when all the Origin stars are out. So it'll be harder for the stars.
But he might just do more.
He played for
Greece last year.
That's true.
In the World Cup, he was really good.
True.
Yeah. We'll see. I might get him in a draft league actually for those weeks. Cheekham annoys me every time I see him because I didn't buy him at the start of the year. I feel silly. I don't buy Cheekham, obviously, if anyone's watching. Isaiah Tass, 518k. I'm not really interested. Turgis, no. Johnston.
I mean, actually, if you just scroll up a bit, we skipped over Shaq Mitchell. When's he back? He was doing really well to start the year. If he comes back and gets those minutes again with Murray and Arrow and stuff potentially out, he could be good value. I don't know. Actually, his name slipped my mind up until now, so I don't know when he's actually back, but it can't be too far away.
Yeah, I just think he'll take some time to wind back into it.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of guys. They've got Host and Tola and Liam Knight back who aren't there.
How many is playing good footy too?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they got too many of those guys. Tom Burgess, the same. If you got minutes, it'd be interesting. Johnston, do you back South and Johnston to go on a try scoring run? If yes, value. If no, don't do it.
Yeah, they've got a great draw, so he's actually a really good option, I think. But he might score a hat trick and only score 55 points. So
I'm just making sure to push it back on people.
Yeah.
So they don't buy Johnson and he scores 12. Yeah. Casual.
Yeah, he could. No, he definitely could. He could he could go from 440k to 600k, or he can go 440k to 300k.
Yeah, if he's 300, buy him right then. Look, Host don't do it. Thompson, no. So up and down with minutes. All the risk is priced in now. 400. Totola, we talk about him in buy, hold, sell. So go over there if you want to look at that. But minus 200k. There's no reason why. With Mark Nichols also out of South, like they haven't picked up any players. No reason why he shouldn't be 600k.
Agree. Yeah, I think especially as the buy period goes on, the rest players, you'll get more minutes. So it might be slower to ramp up, but he's good.
Yeah, he's spicy. And then look, this is probably the last one. Tane Milne, 341. You mentioned this in the last video. Averages 35 historically. Souths have a good run of fixtures. Players on the wing. Isaac Thompson's probably not a threat to take that spot. He just didn't play well enough to warrant it. So, yeah, Milne, that center wing fullback, could be interesting.
There's only one. Actually, the one guy, Blake Taff, probably just worth mentioning him because, like we talked about, Latrell, and we discussed before, Latrell's going to be in Origin. He's going to miss 13, 16, 19. And he's got a history injury on that hammy. So with South doing so well, and Blake Taff is a very respectable and reliable deputy, I don't think they'll rush Latrell back into it. So Blake Taff could actually play 5-6 games over that period, or most of these, and then he could make you 100+ K in that role and just give you another player. So again, kind of like KO Weeks, you can cash out to him and purchase him in round 13.
Yeah, no, big time. He could be interesting. I mean, look, I just grabbed the stats right now just to see. In games over 60 minutes, pretty much all playing fullback, he's averaged 27. So
it's not great, but it gives you 27 points.
Yeah, exactly.
The weeks you need.
Yeah, and there's attacking upside there because Souths are a great team. That's the big thing now. So it could be interesting. Anyway, look, that's a look at some of the buy options. We went a bit longer this time, but if you're still here, we love you. And look, make sure to check out Buy, Hold, Sell. That video is really detailed. It goes into a lot of the stats. Let us know in the comments what trades you're making this week and who you like for the buys. Maybe a guy we haven't mentioned or didn't give as much respect to, as well as who's your pick of the guys that we picked that you think is going to suck. Anyway, we'll see you on the next video. Catch you there.